Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we are discussing a first generation Lange Sohne 1815 flyback chronograph. You can see and you can purchase this watch on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos. And please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this first generation 1815 chronograph. Now, originally launched in 2004 and discontinued in 2008, the first generation 1815 chronograph has already become a collector's item to the point that even the second generation watch has been issued in a boutique variant that attempts to recapture the balance and depth of this dial with its gorgeous pulsation scale Rayhaut. And as you can see, the focal plane that just sinks down, down, down from the bezel into the dial center. This watch is as handsome as it is regarded. 39.5 millimeters across the round of the case, not inclusive of chronograph pushers or crown. It's slimmer than the datograph by a solid 2 millimeters, thanks to its 11.5 millimeter height and a generously domed bezel that allows a dress cuff to slide up and over. You'll also note that the lugs, 48 millimeters from side to side, extremity to extremity across the wrist, downturn rather sharply, and that's why, although my wrist is 16 centimeters, I believe this watch can wear well on a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters with good proportion and security. The strap is vintage inspired, mid-century, with a light brown rectangular scale alligator leather, minimally bolstered, monotone stitch and folded edges, a supple calfskin inlay on the bottom, and Lange's signature retaining bar 18-karat rose gold pin buckle. And that retaining bar is there for those of you like me who have a small wrist and tend to strap the mechanism down quite tightly at one of the last perforations and wind up getting stuck on the wrist because it's simply so cinched down. With this retaining bar, that cannot happen. It prevents the strap from getting so tight that you have trouble removing it. Now, the watch is beautifully made. You can see the step between case flank and lug, absolutely gorgeous. It adds definition to a case that is quite simple, minimalist in every sense. All of high polish, you can see the handsome character lines on the flank of the case where the case back and the bezel meet the case band. You also note there is a small hairline bevel along the lugs, so although all is high polish, nevertheless there is still definition and nuance. The dial, however, is the star of the show. In vintage fashion, the bezel is relatively broad and heavy, but it gives way to a Rayhaut that is a pulsation scale, so doctor style for taking pulses, and then that swoops down highly dished to a seconds track that's quite minutely calibrated and easy to read. As a chronograph, the watch really does succeed. The contrast between white printing and black base is phenomenal, as is the contrast between the supremely elegant alpha style rose gold hour and minute hands at center. Each sub-register, sunken somewhat below the cannon pinion, stands in stark relief, featuring concentric circular guilloche patterns internally and a sort of light gray coloration that contrasts beautifully with the cobalt blue of the hands. Turn the watch over, and now you're looking at the engine behind the high-performance machine. This is the Lange manufacture caliber L951.0. Now, it's based on the datagraph's caliber, retaining the flyback functionality so you can, with a single press of the pusher at 4 o'clock, restart, reset, and resume timing. Great for events that occur in rapid succession, such as any form of racing. Now, the movement is beautiful. As you can see, very traditional. It features a very large balance with a black polished swan's neck regulator for fine adjustments. It's ticking away at 2.5 hertz, or a pocket watch like 18,000 vibrations per hour. You'll also note a huge and bewildering array of colors across this forest of a movement. The light honey or golden toned bridges are made of what's known as German silver. It is an alloy of primarily copper, nickel, and zinc that, unlike Swiss rhodium plated brass, has absolutely no coating and no silver tinge. It becomes darker and more intense with time. You'll note the balance cock supporting the balance is hand engraved. This is a signature, perhaps the signature, of Lange movement finish. You'll also note jewels set in golden and screw-fixed chaton, again pocket watch style. That's in the tradition of the great Lange Sohne manufacture, which prior to the collectivization of East German watchmaking under the Soviets had produced pocket watches for most of its existence. You'll note the column wheel function selector, And you'll also note to good advantage that as you cycle the functions of the watch, all of the levers and horns of the column wheel are beautifully visible. You'll also note the advantage of a lateral clutch, which is that you can see it moving, engaging and disengaging, engaging and disengaging. This is the benefit of a lateral clutch, which keeps no secrets, unlike the relatively secluded vertical clutch that generally hides under bridges, and also the advantage of a manually wound caliber. With its 36-hour power reserve, it is butter smooth to wind, and you'll have the pleasure of winding it every day. Of course, a column wheel is the traditional way of engineering a movement. Tougher to tune, it's more pleasurable to see and to use. Everything about this movement is exceptional, right down to the contrast between the cobalt blued screws, which signify screws used for assembly of components, and the polished screws, which signify screws used to adjust the movement. It has a wonderful classical order to it, very German. You can see and you can purchase this long discontinued first generation Lange Sohne 1815 flyback chronograph on our website.